Okay, welcome back. President Trump today made a major move on deregulation. The U.S. government will no longer regulate greenhouse gases emitted from sources like cars and power plants. Environmentalists are outraged. The White House says it's going to save the American people $1.3 trillion. Let's take you now to Grady Trimble live in Chicago with more. Grady, this is quite a story. What more can you tell us?
It is, Liz, and the White House says today's move is the largest deregulatory action in U.S. history. They say it'll save both U.S. automakers and car buyers a lot of money. President Trump and EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin announced today they're repealing what's known as the endangerment finding and rolling back regulations on vehicles. That finding says that greenhouse gas pollution endangers public health and welfare, and the Obama and Biden administration used it as the legal basis to limit greenhouse gas emissions from cars and trucks. The Trump administration says doing away with the finding will save Americans about $1.3 trillion, with the bulk of that coming from cheaper cars, trucks, and SUVs to the tune of more than $2,400 per vehicle. President Trump says today's announcement hits the brakes on electric vehicle mandates and a much-derided feature on newer gas-powered vehicles.
Under the endangerment finding, they forced the hated start-stop feature onto American consumers, which unnecessarily shuts off a car's engine when you stop at a red light. In other words, the engine goes off. That's great.
Are those stop-start switches? Stellantis, which owns Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, and more, says the company welcomes today's decision because it enables us to continue offering Americans a broad range of cars, trucks, and SUVs, including electric vehicles, hybrids, and efficient internal combustion engines that they want, need, and can afford. But environmental groups, Liz, are not happy with today's announcement, and they promise that they are going to take this battle to court.
All right. Sure they will. Grady Trimble, you'll be very busy on that one, too. Thank you so much. Now watch this.
We've also, for the first time, created a national policy raising our fuel efficiency standards that will result in savings of 1.8 billion barrels of oil over the lifetime of vehicles sold in the next 5 years alone. And we just passed in our House of Representatives the first climate change legislation that would cut carbon pollution by more than 80% by 2050.
Effective immediately, we are repealing the ridiculous endangerment finding and terminating all additional green emission standards imposed unnecessarily on vehicle models and engines between 2012 and 2027 and beyond. This action will save American consumers trillions of dollars and will lower the average cost of a new vehicle by close to $3,000. Under the Biden administration, the price of a new and used car rose more than 22%, all to facilitate the Green New Scam without achieving any meaningful impact on the environment.
Okay, first, that was former President Barack Obama in 2009. We looked at the research. None of what Barack Obama said about the greenhouse gas emission standards on things like cars came to pass. And then that was President Trump today ending that. Reports show the estimates Obama used were way off. Gas has dropped 12% over the time frame he cited because power plants switched to natural gas. That's what brought it down. Joining us now, Forbes Media Chair, Editor-in-Chief Steve Forbes. What's your take on that? Axios is also reporting U.S. emissions are going to decline substantially because of natural gas. What do you say?
Well, this whole thing was one of the part of most misbegotten episodes in human history, where they waged war against fossil fuels, deliberately raised the cost of energy, hurt manufacturing in America and elsewhere. Germany, for example, is deindustrializing because of that nonsense. So this will not only save people, consumers, car buyers and the like, but it'll also strengthen the American economy by stripping away unnecessary costs by these crazy regulations. And so it's a huge step forward. And one of the things we're going to have to watch out for now, Liz, is making sure the states don't try to preempt the federal government, like California always does, and put in their own new standards. So this is the beginning of a wonderful battle that will really make America great again, because it unleashes free enterprise instead of hobbling manufacturers with these horrible costs, unnecessary costs. It didn't do any good at all. In fact, a lot of these renewables end up, when you go from beginning to end, hurting the environment. Cost trillions of dollars. For what?
You know, Steve, Gallup polling, an all-time high, nearly 6 out of 10 voters do not like. They don't like the Democrat Party has gone communist socialist. About 2/3, 66% of Democrats had a favorable view of socialism last year. Now, voters overall don't like this. Watch this from CNN's Harry Enton.
Look at this. We're talking about a third of all Democrats who identify as Democratic Socialists. They are a considerable part of the Democratic base at this point. And more than that, if you look at Democrats under the age of 35, they are nearly half of the Democratic Party. Look at this. 42% of Democrats think of themselves as Democratic Socialists under the age of 35. What about all Americans, right? How about all voters? Voters who say the Democrats are now too liberal. Look at this percentage. It was 42% in 96, 48% in 2013, now 58% in 2025 of all voters say that the Democratic Party is too liberal. The Democrats are moving to the left, the far left is gaining power, and there could be some electoral repercussions, because what we see right now is voters, the clear majority, say that they are too liberal.
What do you think? This is going to hit the midterms and other elections? What do you say?
Well, the Democrats are doing a great favor for the Republicans. Normally, our incumbent party should lose in those midterm elections, but the Democrats are doing their darndest by this crazy stuff. Socialism has never worked. And if you want to see proof of it, go to Cuba, go to North Korea, and sadly, New York City.
All right, Steve Forbes, we hope not for that. It's good to see you again, my friend. Now listen to this. Watch this one.
If you tell the model it's going to be shut off, for example, it has extreme reactions. It could blackmail the engineer that's going to shut it off if given the opportunity to do so.
It was ready to kill someone, wasn't it? I'm not sure if it was Claude or someone else. But,
yeah. Yes. This is obviously massively concerning.
Coming up, more and more AI insiders, artificial intelligence executives, are warning about an existential threat from AI. That an AI model even threatened to blackmail software engineers. And also, it's barricading itself against anyone who's trying to change it or shut it down. Joe Concha is going to break it down coming up. The out-of-control race for AI. But first, this.
What voting rights is he taking away from black voters?
Oh, if we look at
the SAVE Act?
The SAVE Act, that's exactly what we're talking about. That is actually going to continue to disenfranchise overwhelmingly a lot of people of color. There are so many civil rights organizations that have run the data. If we look at the way that it is going to disenfranchise black voters, it's the same reason why Chuck Schumer called it Jim Crow 2.0.
So,
this is the same president. If we want to continue.
You haven't said how yet.
A liberal CNN guest unable to explain how voter ID is racist when ID is used by minorities to open bank accounts, rent hotel rooms, and more. The House did successfully pass the SAVE Act to mandate voter ID in federal elections. A majority of voters want that. A majority of blacks and Hispanics want it. But 213 Democrats voted against it. This is a midterm issue. Will the Senate pass voter ID? RNC Chair Joe Gruthers is going to take it on with us coming up next.
The Save America Act, and the Democrats are against it. I heard one of them say, we will stop the Save America Act. No, we're trying to save America.